welcome to my channel. My name is Victoria if you haven't been here before. I am a biomedical engineer and I am fascinated by the woman's body, and I try to learn as much as I can about the woman's body, in particular our menstrual cycles. So today I'm doing a meal prep for my luteal phase. So let's jump right into it. First things first, a snack while you're cooking. I'm having some chips and salsa and a cheddar cheese stick. I am getting inspo / recipes for what I'm making today from the Moon Cycle cookbook. It's a holistic nutrition guide for a well-balanced menstrual cycle. I think it's very well branded. Would highly recommend a purchase if you're interested in cycle syncing with your diet. The first thing I'm going to make is Raspberry-Lavender-Lemon Chia Jam. This recipe, especially if paired with some like whole grain bread in the morning and some nut butter, is a really good source of complex carbs and whole grains. Both of those things are stocked with B vitamins, which are really good for progesterone production, which is essential during your luteal phase. You want your progesterone levels to be higher than your estrogen levels after you ovulate. The luteal phase starts after you ovulate and ends on the first day of your period. And during that phase, we want progesterone to be higher than estrogen. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this recipe started because it's gonna need to simmer and thicken for a while. And while that's happening, I will make my other recipes. All right, first things first, my raspberries. I went with frozen because it's a lot cheaper to buy them that way. And I'm just gonna be heating them up, so I don't need fresh raspberries for any reason. 3 cups of raspberries, which just ended up being the whole bag. So if you go to Trader Joe's and you buy these raspberries, just put the whole bag in the pan. And then I'm adding in a 1/4 cup of water, and I'm gonna bring this to a simmer. I lied, I'm actually gonna bring this to a boil. Raspberries break down really well, so don't be alarmed that it's like hardly any water at all. And I'm making a jam, not a syrup. And then once this boils, I'll put it down to a simmer and then add my other ingredients. It's only been about 3 minutes and you can already see how much these raspberries have broken down here. So we'll give it another couple minutes till I really start to see it boil. Honestly, I'm probably going to use this masher to mash them up. This is a beef masher. But I'll use it to mash these raspberries up. The next thing that I'm going to prep is a white bean and sage dip. The recipe calls for navy beans, but I'm gonna use chickpeas. For one, beans provide soluble fiber, which helps you digest things. It helps to slow down your digestion, which means that you're extracting more nutrients from your food and you're able to flush out toxins and excess hormones like estrogen for your luteal phase. We're trying to get rid of that estrogen. And another thing is that beans are rich in magnesium, which can help reduce fluid retention, which will hopefully reduce headaches, constipation, bloating. I will say in my case, I do have IBS, so I'm taking a bit of a risk eating beans. I haven't had chickpeas in a couple of months, but I'm really hoping that they're mild enough for my gut to handle. If you digest beans correctly, then the soluble fiber is gonna be really good for you. I have my chickpeas here and my food processor. So all you're gonna do is add all these ingredients in 1 can of chickpeas in the food processor. I just added in about a pinch of red pepper flakes. You can add more if you want it more spicy. I have some fresh sage. Oh, it smells so freaking good. I love sage. It says 1 tablespoon of sage. I'll probably just grab all of the leaves from this stem here. They smell so good. I'd say that's about a tablespoon. I'm gonna do a pinch of salt, 2 pinches of salt, some cracks of black pepper, and then I have some garlic here, some minced garlic that I have been keeping in vinegar. I find my IBS handles garlic that's been kind of steeping in vinegar a little bit better. I'm not sure why. I think there's some science behind it. I am going to add olive oil to this, but I like to mix it dry first. I'm just gonna mix this on high for a good couple minutes. I want to get it as smooth as I can. I'm gonna go in and scrape the sides. I'm gonna give it another go. Now I'm gonna start mixing it and then slowly add in my olive oil. It's looking good. All right, I'm gonna give her a little taste test. I want it a little spicier than that, so I'm gonna do another handful of red pepper flakes. And the recipe doesn't call for this, but I'm gonna do a little squeeze of lemon. I just think it'll be yummier. Give it a little more of a fresh taste. I almost forgot, I was gonna modify this recipe with some feta cheese as well. I have a block of hard feta cheese I'm gonna cut up and just do like a 1/4 of it and put it in here because that sounds delicious. Obviously, if you're vegan or you can't eat cheese, you don't have to add the feta cheese in. In goes my feta. Here's my taste test of the dip. It's really good. I would definitely recommend adding the feta cheese in. I think by the end there, I added in 2 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil. I just kept adding it till I got this creamy consistency, because that's what you want. I basically made a hummus. My raspberries are completely broken down now. You may have noticed an outfit change, and I was really worried about getting raspberry on my white shirt, so I just put this t-shirt on. Okay, so next steps for this, I'm going to put in, we've got a dash of maple syrup. The recipe calls for 2 tablespoons. I'm just gonna do half of 1 tablespoon because raspberries are so sweet anyway. I just don't see why this would need any more sweetener. If you're already having jam in the morning, why are we adding more sugar to it? Obviously, I can add in more maple syrup later if I want to. Then I have dried lavender leaves. I picked these up from a market down the street from us. And we're doing 1 tablespoon of the lavender, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, which I'm not going to measure that. I'm just going to put it in. I love lemon, so the more acidic, the better, in my humble opinion. I have this lemon that I'm going to zest a tiny bit. And then I'm going to mix this all together and I'm going to let it simmer for about 10 minutes. Of course, I'm going to take a taste test. It's so yummy. You know what? I should have followed the recipe because I'm going to add another half a tablespoon of maple syrup. So I just took this off of the heat, and this is what is going to give it a jam texture. I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. And I'm going to stir that in really well. I'm just going to let it sit for a while, and then I'll put it into a mason jar to store in the fridge. This should last up to a month in your fridge. You don't just have to eat this on your luteal phase. My suggestion with this jam is to store it in a mason jar in your fridge, and then maybe in the mornings slap it on some whole grain toast and maybe add peanut butter or almond butter on it, and then your jam. It'll make a really quick breakfast, especially if you want a small breakfast before you go to a workout class or go to the gym, or it can also make a really good snack like when you get home from work and you want something sweet, because this will fill your sweet tooth a little bit. With the white bean dip, you can obviously eat this with, I tried it with a multigrain sea salt chip, just like a tortilla chip. You could eat it with pita, like warm pita, or crackers. You can obviously dip carrots, cucumbers, any kind of veg into it. I'm even picturing like slapping it on a tortilla and putting some chicken into it and maybe arugula or some kind of leafy green, and then having like unroll up for lunch. You can do a lot with this. If you don't have a food processor, you should be able to do this in a blender. I have changed locations. The kitchen's now behind me. I'm in the dining room because I'm doing something a little bit different. This is a little new for me, but I'm very excited to try it. I have all of these dried flowers from that local market down the street, and I'm going to prep some tea. These are pretty old, but I have these empty tea bags you can make your own tea with. So I'm going to prep a couple of these tea bags for me to have throughout the week while I'm in my luteal phase in order to, you know, support my cycle. I've never done anything like this before, like buying cute little dried flowers like this, but I'm very excited to try them. So the first one I'm going to do is red raspberry mint tea. And then again, this is from the Moon Cycle cookbook. I bought these red raspberry leaf tea packets from Whole Foods. The market did have like actual dried raspberry leaf, but I had already bought this, so I was gonna spend more money on that. The only thing in this tea packet is red raspberry leaf. They just have it ground up a bit. And what I'm gonna do is just take this string off of it, and I'm just gonna transfer these leaves into my own little tea bag. Dried peppermint leaves, teaspoon of this peppermint. Now I have a red raspberry mint tea that I can have in the morning. So I'll probably make 3 or 4 of those. Red raspberry leaf has been shown to help tone the muscles of the uterus, which should help with blood flow once you start your period. As progesterone is rising, you're kind of leading up to the start of your period. Red raspberry leaf can help regulate your blood flow and ease cramping a bit. Red raspberry leaf has also been shown to help with pregnancy and maybe can help with labor. There's not a ton of studies. I was actually trying to find any publications on research that has been done on red raspberry leaf for women's health. There's not a ton, which is not super surprising because there's not an abundance of research that has been done on women's like gynecological women's menstrual health. but that is why we're doing red raspberry leaf. Another thing about this tea is that peppermint, there's actually a lot of studies that have gone into peppermint and the effects that peppermint have on your body. One of them is that it can help relax your muscles. So in the lead up to your period or even on your period, peppermint can help to hopefully relieve some of those cramps. The next one I'm going to make is vanilla rose hibiscus tea. I have rose hips right here. I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of the rose hips into here. Rose hips have also been shown to reduce cramping and help relieve stress. And I have my hibiscus, so I'm doing 1 teaspoon of hibiscus. When I have this one in the morning, I will add a dash of vanilla extract. I would like to start making my own vanilla extract. It's probably going to be pretty expensive. I think it would be a fun thing to make and really yummy. So this is my tea for the week. I'm going to make a couple of these. If you don't feel like putting in all of this effort, if you don't have a market that you can go to buy dried flowers like this, you can find some of these teas just at your grocery store. For example, red raspberry leaf, you can definitely find this one. This is traditional. They have a rosehip hibiscus tea as well. And then obviously peppermint tea you can find. You should be able to find lavender tea. And then you can just kind of mix and match your tea bags to make a tea that you like. It is dinner time. This is actually the night before because I wanted to make dinner tonight. I am really struggling to get angles in this kitchen. It is so hard to set up a camera that makes sense where I'm trying to cook and show you what I'm doing and all of that. So just please bear with me as I try to figure this out. Tonight for dinner, I am making, what did I call it? So this is one of my own recipes. I just kind of came up with this morning. This is similar to something I've made before. It's like kind of one of my go-to meals. Brown rice pasta with spinach and walnut pesto. Brown rice pasta from Trader Joe's. The ingredients are organic brown rice and water. Brown rice, not only is brown rice a whole grain, but it has magnesium and calcium in it, which helps to reduce bloating, headaches, and constipation. I have been using this rice since I kind of like went off gluten. I still eat gluten, but I try to avoid it if I can, or if I know I'm gonna have a big day ahead of me. I'm making my own pesto, but instead of pine nuts, I'm making it with some walnuts. I'm making the pesto with basil and spinach. I'm gonna put garlic in it because I can't digest garlic super easily. I've pickled the garlic. Studies show that it can be effective for people who have a hard time digesting garlic if you pickle it first. Then I'm adding baby broccoli to it because I just thought it would be fun to use baby broccoli. I'm obviously adding Parmesan cheese to it. Really like homey comfort food meal tonight. I got a lemon. We're gonna put salt in it, but I'm gonna tell you the measurements as I'm making it. I'm gonna try to get better at that on my channel. It's like actually telling you what the measurements are when I'm cooking. Let's get started. This is my basil plant. Look at it. I'm so proud of this one. Oh, I'm like, I almost just held this up to you to smell it. That's crazy. It smells so good. So that's a good healthy bunch of basil. I'm gonna throw this right into my food processor. I don't mind the little stems, but I am gonna break these like thicker stems off just because I don't know how well they're gonna chop up in the food processor. Oh shoot, see, I forgot already I was gonna measure this. That's about a loosely packed 1 cup of basil. And next is gonna be my spinach, which spinach is a good source of vitamin B6. And vitamin B6 is essential in the production of the corpus luteum, and the corpus luteum is what is responsible for progesterone production. And of course, during your luteal phase, you want progesterone to be dominant over estrogen. So that was about 2 cups of packed spinach. Pasta water is boiling, so I'm gonna go ahead and just dump in a bunch of salt. The thing is with pasta, you have to remember you might be putting a ton of salt in the water, but most of the salt is going down the drain. So it's not like you're intaking 4 tablespoons of salt when you're eating pasta. You want a lot of salt in the water because you want the salt to permeate the pasta as it's cooking, and it makes the pasta taste so much better, okay? Just trust me. I'm just gonna shake in a ton of salt. Again, this is the pasta I'm going to be using. It is brown rice penne pasta. Brown rice is a whole grain. And like I said earlier in the video, whole grains are good for getting rid of those toxins and excess hormones like estrogen, because we do not want estrogen to be high during our luteal phase. While that pasta water is boiling, I'm gonna start chopping up my broccoli. I'm kind of chopping them up into like bite-sized pieces. Broccoli is a complex carbohydrate, meaning that your body digests it more slowly and it leaves you feeling more full. During your luteal phase, your appetite is going to increase. I think part of it is because your body's going to start to lose a lot of blood and you kind of need to prep for that. So your body's appetite increases and you start craving carbohydrates. Probably what you're gonna crave is more so like the starches, like fries, french fries, sweets. But what will sustain you more is a complex carb, like broccoli, for example. Any vegetables would be a complex carb. I thought this was interesting. Complex carbs can help increase serotonin production, which in some people is lower during your luteal phase. Serotonin is like that feel-good hormone, like makes you happy and things like that, which is really important. Nutrition is so important, not just for syncing your cycle, but getting all of these vitamins and nutrients that support all of these healthy hormones in your body. It's so important, okay? I will say it is very important to not overcook this pasta because it will start to fall apart a little bit. I have this broccoli chopped up. I just threw it in this saucepan and I am going to steam it just a bit, basically just so it's not too crunchy, and I'm gonna put a little bit of salt in there as well. I was a little bit surprised to learn this, but broccoli actually can be a good source of protein, which is super fun. I love broccoli. It does smell pretty badly though. This is why I normally use frozen broccoli, because it does not smell this bad. Another thing I like to do is just drizzle a tiny bit of olive oil into pasta that I've just taken out, just so that it doesn't all stick together and then you have one giant clump of pasta, if you know what I'm talking about. Broccoli's steaming up. I'm back to making the pesto, the star of the show. I'm gonna try half a cup of walnuts. I haven't had garlic in so long. I'm so excited for this. I love garlic. I'm throwing a teaspoon of this garlic in here. This is crazy for me to measure all of this stuff. I never measure my stuff, okay? But I'm doing it for you guys. Half a teaspoon of salt. These are all my dry ingredients, and I'm gonna blend it up in my food processor right now. Next, I'm gonna add my Parmesan cheese, quarter cup of parm. I'm gonna start adding my wet ingredients in, half a lemon squeezed in. As it's already spinning, I'm gonna start to add some olive oil in. I'm gonna start with like 2 tablespoons and then just kind of keep adding olive oil until I feel like it's the right consistency. For the consistency, basically what I'm looking for is for this kind of top half of the pesto to start folding in on itself when it's spinning, because when it's still too dry, it'll kind of just like clump up, stay stuck to the sides, but I want it creamy and I want these sides kind of like folding in on each other. That was 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Let's see. So I would say that's a really good texture. I want this pesto to be a little thicker since I'm mixing it up with pasta. Ooh, that looks so good. Look how tasty that looks. Yee! Taste test. It's so delicious. You can taste the basil and the lemon juice in there. So savory and yummy. Here is the finished result. It looks so freaking yummy. I am so excited to get into this. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. I'm so excited. There is dinner for tonight, and then we have so much more left. I made the whole bag of pasta, so this is gonna be lunches or dinners, whatever you want, for a couple days. I really hope that you got some inspo from this video and learned a little bit about what you need to be eating during your luteal phase to support your hormones and have a healthy, balanced cycle. Thank you so much if you made it all the way to the end of this video. I love you guys, and I will see you next time.